Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight as we spend some time in God's Word tonight. We're going to be talking about preparation tonight. We're preparing to share the gospel and some of the instruction that Jesus gave the disciples before they went out. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for those who have gathered here in our auditorium to worship with us as we study your word. We pray for those who are online listening, and we just pray, Lord, your blessing upon them as well. Give us wisdom and understanding. We ask, Lord, that you will illuminate your word, that we might take the principles and apply them to our daily lives. Thank you for saving us. Thank you for giving us a purpose for living, and that is sharing Jesus with those with whom we come in contact. Bless this night, for it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We're going to look at Matthew chapter 10, verses 9 through 15. Again, we started last week talking about being commissioned to serve, that every one of us are saved for a reason, and that is that we might share the gospel. And when Jesus was leaving the earth and ascending to the Father, he wanted to give a summation of his ministry, and he told us to go ye therefore into all the world and preach the gospel. And it's interesting, the wording in the Greek, it actually says, as you go. So as we go about our daily activities and the things that we do, the Lord's going to provide for us opportunities to tell other people about Jesus. And so let's look at this passage of Scripture, Matthew 10, verses 9 through 15. Jesus said, "Don't take any money in your money belts, no gold, silver, or even copper coins. Don't carry a traveler's bag with a change of clothes and sandals, or even a walking stick." Now I'm reading from the New Living Translation. "Don't hesitate to accept hospitality, because those who work desire to be fed. Whenever you enter a city or village, search for a worthy person and stay in his home until you leave town. When you enter the home, give it your blessing. If it turns out to be a worthy home, let your blessing stand. If it is not, take back the blessing. If any household or town refuses to welcome you or listen to your message, shake its dust from your feet as you leave. I tell you the truth, the wicked cities of Sodom and Gomorrah will be better off than such a town on the judgment day." One of our favorite TV shows that Jamie and I watch is The Middle. And it's just a story about the Heck family, and it's just a funny show. It's a clean show, and there's something in it that just almost everybody can relate to. There's a running gag throughout the years that the program was on about the blue bag. The blue bag represented the traveling necessities for the Heck family. And every time they went on a trip, somebody messed up concerning the blue bag. Either they left it on top of the car, or they left it on the kitchen counter, or one time they even left it in the middle of the road when they made an unscheduled stop. And you know, it showed how bad the family was at preparation. Well, before Jesus sent the disciples out, he was telling them that they need to be prepared, and so he gave them these principles. And even though Jesus was going out, sending them out to the Jewish people to tell them about faith in him, that he was the Messiah, that he was the way, the truth, and the life, there would come a time later whenever they would go to the Gentiles. And the thing for us to remember is there are principles in this passage that I think are really important for us to look at today. And I believe the Scripture, greatest thing about the Bible is that it's relevant today as much as the day that it was written. And so we'll look at some of these things. You know, Jesus modeled for the disciples how he engaged in the culture. and how we as followers of Christ should engage our culture. Yesterday, as I was working the election, I was visiting with someone, and I loved what they said. It was a compliment. They said they liked the fact that I was engaged in the culture, and that is that when it came to current events and things such as that, they said that I seemed to at least know what was going on. There's a reason for that. Way back whenever I was beginning in the youth ministry, I had the privilege of going to the First Baptist Church of Dallas for the Southern Baptist Convention. W.A. Criswell was the preacher that day, and you can tell by his comment that this is a dated illustration, because he said that the effective Christian needs to begin each day with the Bible in one hand and a newspaper in the other. Now that's been replaced by internet or some other source of news. But in other words, his point is that we need to be engaged in our culture and to know what's going on and what's taking place. Jesus did that. He would go to the well and encounter a woman and tell her that he could give a living water where she would never thirst again. He can encounter someone in the temple or somewhere out on a road, and he could share with them his love and the faith that needed to be placed in him. And so what Jesus was trying to do is just to prepare them for ministry in a fallen world. We see examples of that all over our news today. We live in a fallen world. It seems as if Satan is having some victories right now in our society. He may win a few battles, but he's already lost a war. We are working from a place of victory as followers of Christ. He's already won the victory for you and me at the cross, and so we can rest assured that he has already won the war, and we can be victorious with him. Also, the first point I wanted to make tonight is that with faith, trust Jesus for our provision. With faith, we trust Jesus for our provision. Jesus sent them to go out. He told them to go out in faith. In the same way that they had received Christ by faith into their hearts, they would also go out and to trust the Lord to provide for them. And so we need to be willing to go out in faith and to trust God that anytime He calls us to do something, He will provide everything that we need. And so we need to go in faith as well, fulfilling the Great Commission. The second thing is that Jesus instructs us to pack lightly. As I thought over this, to me that's what this was saying. Don't take any money in your money belts, no gold, no silver, or even copper coins. Don't carry a traveler's bag with a change of clothes and sandals, or even a walking stick. The disciples were about to go on a journey. They were about to take a trip, and they might be gone for an extended period of time. But Jesus is saying, I will provide all the things that you need on this journey, and so trust me. You don't have to take anything extra. As I read this, I was thinking about the Israelites as they were fleeing from Egypt, and the manna that was given them from heaven. They were told, don't carry any of the manna over to the next day, because God's going to provide you with fresh manna each and every day. And I believe, folks, that what Jesus was telling them, you don't need to take money. He could tell them, the streets of gold in heaven is where I came from. Money doesn't mean anything. I'll provide you with all the money, all the resources that you need. And so they were told not to take gold, silver, brass, a leather bag, any additional food supplies. You don't even have to take another coat. Don't even take another pair of shoes. One's going to be enough. My Sunday school teacher, whenever I was in junior high and high school, was a postal service worker. His name was Harold Hightower. Harold loved the Lord, and he was just the greatest Sunday school teacher ever. I'm not certain I would be in the ministry if it were not for Harold Hightower. The way he loved me, and the way, with tears in his eyes, he would want me to learn about following Jesus more closely. And he used to always say that imagine having a pair of shoes that would last for 40 years. And that's what God gave to the Israelites as they were fleeing from Egypt. And so God will provide the needs that we have. Jesus didn't promise them that they wouldn't have hardships. He didn't promise them that they would have things easy, but why he told them don't worry about all these additional things to bring along with them is because he wanted them to focus upon the Lord preparing their need. But I believe too he wanted them to focus on their calling, that they have been called to be witnesses. They've been called to be evangelists, to be missionaries, and to go out and to carry the gospel with them. He didn't want them to have to worry about all the peripheral things. It's like Jesus was saying, I've got your back. I will take care of all these things. Don't worry about it. And just focus on the job, the task that is ahead. You know, we've got to learn how to walk by faith as well. We've got to learn how to trust the Lord for our needs. Whenever I was starting out in the ministry as a young man, I remember where I felt like I came to a point where I kind of hit a wall, and I wasn't sure what more I could do or how I could serve God more effectively. And my old youth minister, Chuck Flowers, told me, you know, just let God lead. He said, just trust God and let him speak through you and work through you, and you'll be able to be successful in the ministry. And so I really wonder, in some ways, do we ever feel really fully prepared for the ministry? You know, sometimes the task seems so big, and most times we're harder on ourselves than we should be. And so do we ever really feel as if we are fully effective in serving the Lord? As I've said many times, I love mowing the yard because when I'm done, I can see a finished job. In the ministry, so many times people are just like I am. They're a work in progress, and it may be down the road before they really begin to show the fruits of the Spirit and show the growth that we're trying to work in them. And so I really wonder if we ever will feel fully prepared for the Lord's work, because it seems like there's so much to do. God will give us the wisdom we need. He will lead us, and he will provide all the tools we need. I can tell you this, if we wait until we're comfortable before we go out, we'll never go out. We need to just trust God and to follow his leadership. He's going to provide a path for us. He'll guide us through that path, and he'll provide our needs. I love stories of testimonies where God has miraculously provided a need. I've had those moments in my life, and there's some I'll share in this, but I know that there was one time that I was, this was in the early years, and we were kind of struggling financially. And as I was driving through the monument coming out here, I needed $200. I mean, that's just it. I had a bill that was due that I had to pay, and as I was driving, I was asking God, you know, that I know that I'm not always as faithful as I should be in my giving, but I know that you're always faithful. And I was making all these excuses to God. Well, usually I don't check the mailbox. That was either Sylvia or her husband used to do the same thing. But for some reason, I pulled into the parking lot, I opened the mailbox, and there was an envelope that said Pastor Bob on it. And I opened it up, and there was $200 in it. I wish God would do that more often. I guess $1 million is just too large a package to leave in a mailbox. But listen, God will provide our needs. I mean, He knows us. He knows our words before we speak them, our thoughts before we think them, and He is a loving God and a generous God, and He'll provide. So God will use others many times for our provisions. So He says, Jesus said, don't hesitate to accept hospitality, because those who work deserve to be fed. And so Jesus is saying, if people, because sometimes our pride prevents us from taking a gift, and we'll say, no, God will provide for us, and we turn people down. And sometimes we're robbing someone of a blessing. I remember when we were going through a real difficult time in Clinton. As a matter of fact, we had just a few more months before we would leave for seminary. And there was a guy, his first name was Fred. And I knew Fred and his wife. They were just sweet people. And Fred came to our door and he said, God's just put this on our heart. We want to give you and Jamie a gift. And he gave us $100 that night. I hate to use just money as an example because there's so many other needs. But in this case, I knew that for Fred and his wife, this was a real sacrifice for them. And the thing is that God blesses those who take care of those who are serving the Lord. And so Jesus is telling them, accept the kindness of others. If the Lord's put it on their heart to do something, then receive that as a blessing, and don't be embarrassed by it, is I think what Jesus is saying. Be faithful to the Lord and receive the blessing of others. God will see what they have done and will reward them at the judgment. And so don't ever lose focus of the task at hand, because God wants to provide what we need. Now, sometimes this text has been taken out of context. It's been used by some preachers to justify taking more from the church than what they should. And we've heard the prosperity gospel has been preached, and I'm really opposed to that. I don't believe that whenever we say, I remember years ago, and I was really young, there was a program called the Tom Snyder Show. It was on a really late night, and Tom Snyder had a guest. His name was Reverend Ike. And Reverend Ike was brought on there because his motto was, you can't lose with the stuff I use. And he had a name it, claim it philosophy that if you want a brand new Cadillac, then you pray to God that, God, see that driveway right there? I need you to put a brand new Cadillac. I'm your child, and I'm naming it, I'm claiming it, and I want you to put a new Cadillac in that driveway. I don't think God intends for us to necessarily be rich, and I really don't believe God expects for us to be extravagant. I believe God will meet our needs. I think He will take care of us. We may not have everything we want, but He will give us everything we need. And so this passage has been used to justify rich and extravagant lifestyles. I don't believe that's what Jesus was talking about here in this. God will faithfully bless those who support the ministry of the church and its ministers. And so 1 Corinthians 9:14 is a great illustration of that. In the same way, the Lord ordered that those who preach the good news should be supported by those who benefit from it. And so it's like it says in another passage, the laborer is worthy of his hire. And so I worked with a very wise education minister years ago. His name was Tom Crow. Tom gave me some great advice about whenever a minister is going to a new church and has accepted a call, or maybe is even being offered a call to serve. He said that whenever he sits down with a search committee, he said right in the middle of their discussion, when they're asking questions, he would say, "May I ask you now about the salary and the benefits from your church?" He said, "I don't want to put it at the beginning because it's not the most important, but I don't want to put it at the end because it's not the least important, because I have a family. So I'd like to talk about it right here in the middle." And I always thought that was a wise thing to do, because after all, ministers shop in the same shops that you shop at and everyone else, and I just always appreciated that bit of wisdom that Tom shared. Next point is, if God is already at work, join him in that work. Whenever Jesus said, well, let's look at verses 11 and 13. Whenever you enter a city or village, search for a worthy person and stay in his home until you leave town. When you enter the home, give it your blessing. If it turns out to be a worthy home, let your blessing stand. If it is not, take back the blessing. Henry Blackaby wrote a series of Bible studies some years ago called Experiencing God. And this is the main theme of his ministry. Wherever you see God at work, join him in that work. And Jesus is offering the same instruction to his disciples. Whenever you find someone who is worthy, find someone in a town that is already doing the work of ministry and join them in the work. I really believe, folks, that there are some good civic services that are offered that the church should sometimes get involved in, should support the things that the community is doing. And just to let them know that the church is supportive of them, we see good work being done, we want to join you in that work and support that work. If it doesn't involve compromise in some way with Scripture, then we need to be willing to join them. I was so blessed this morning getting to go to the Marana High School and to meet a young man named David who's involved in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and offered a ministry opportunity that I've been praying for 33 years here in this church. And God is moving this direction. We have a couple visiting here tonight that's already talked with me about the same type of ministry. I believe God's opening a door. We want to join these committed Christians in the high school that are wanting to see young people come to Christ, to see them grow and develop, to see them develop a good Bible base. On October the 4th, they will be approved for a Turning Point ministry at the church, at the school. And they've already made the application, and it's going to be granted on October the 4th. And so it's exciting the way God is moving right now and just opening doors. I really feel, folks, you know, we need to strike while it's hot, you know. Because I believe in these last days before Christ comes, I think there's going to be an outpouring of His Holy Spirit. I think He's already begun in our church, drawing people into Himself. And these are exciting days we're living in. Where we see God at work, we need to join Him in that work. Also, Jesus told His disciples, join those who have a heart to see others come to Christ. It's so important that we have right relationships with God. And whenever we run into a brother in Christ, and folks, you can sense it. I'm not claiming about anything extrasensory that I've got going, but when I meet a brother in Christ, I can oftentimes tell right away. You know, it's almost like the spirit inside of me is, just immediately in harmony with the Spirit inside of him. And so I think we need to be so careful about how we choose our friends and people that we serve in the ministry with, and make sure that they are people of godly character. I have not been able to put out of my mind something that David Jeremiah said in one of our recent Bible studies. And he said that we should be very careful that we never tie ourselves to someone who is not a believer. That is not saying that we don't have unsaved friends. I believe every Christian should have unsaved friends, partly so you can win them to the Lord. But what David Jeremiah said, you have to stop and ask yourself, is this friendship, are they pulling me closer to Christ, or are they pushing me closer to the world? And I think that's so valuable. I have seen it in teenagers, but I am seeing it more and more in adults today, that if you don't have right friendships, right relationships, man, it's going to be hard for you to move forward in your Christian life. I used to have an exercise that I did with my teenagers in youth ministry. I would have one of the biggest guys in my youth group stand on top of a table, and I would ask him to pull kids up onto the table with him. It was almost impossible. Didn't care how strong the kid was, how big he was. It's hard to balance on top of a table. And then I would tell the kids, okay, I want a few of you to surround the table. Let's see if you can pull him down. And it didn't take but just a minute. They would pull that big kid down or knock him off. And it's a great illustration of what friends, the wrong kind of friends, will do to you. And so Jesus said to join those who have a heart to see others come to Christ. I'm just saying be careful about the relationships with you that you have. Years ago, I was at a Gloriette at a conference, and somehow the main speaker and I became friends. We ate together and all that during the week until it came to the last day that we were there. And I'll never forget, because this guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a big name, and people across the nation would know this guy. And we were in a cafeteria line, we got our food, and I said, I'm going to get me a soda to drink, I'll go ahead and get us a table. I was getting my soda, and whenever I started to look for him where he was, I heard this yelling. I heard this commotion. And I looked over in the corner, and there was a gentleman who was on the serving team that was squared off with my friend, and they were about ready to go to Fish City. And I came up and I sat down my tray and said, what is going on? And he said, well, this guy said this, and this guy said that, and all this and that. As I spent the rest of the week with this guy, I began to see this really combative spirit that he had. And I would like to tell you that I went ahead and did a lot of follow-up and tried to encourage this guy or do. I didn't, you know. I just began to feel like, you know, maybe this is not going to be a great influence on me. So just be careful about who we align ourselves with, making certain that we align ourselves with people of the faith, and I believe God will bless and make our ministry more effective. I'm going to stop right there for tonight. We've just about spent up our time. At first, as I started looking at this text, I wanted to skip over it. But then I thought, you know, there's just too many good things in this text that we don't want to ignore. And so we'll go ahead and pick up next week in this and continue this what I believe is a really important study. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you again for this evening. We thank you, Lord, for your word. Pray, Lord, that mention a few stories and illustrations. If I've said something stupid or something that didn't glorify you, I pray, Lord, you'll just take that out of people's memory. But Father, I really believe that we need to be watchful of the ministry that you call us to, the people that you call us to serve with, and the places that we serve. Father, may we follow you by faith walk by faith with you each and every day, enjoying that special fellowship that you've called each one of us to. Give us a great night, and we pray, Lord, that throughout the rest of this week that we'll serve you and others. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you again for joining us tonight. God's richest blessings on you and your family.